Stress, anxiety, depression, all that is symptoms that we all suffer. Now, if you're a person who's never been stressed, who's never felt anxiety, who's never been depressed, I'd like to meet you. Top of the week to everybody. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to another episode of Mental Muscle Podcast on this Mental Muscle Monday. And I am your host, Mr Talk Dat Shit. And on this Monday, we're going to talk about some mental health, and we're going to talk about the stigmas of mental health and how it hurts a person's recovery. So, first of all, what is a stigma of mental health? Well, a stigma is a way of someone being negative towards a situation, downgrading the situation, telling a person to man up, don't be so soft, shake it off, you'll be okay. Don't mess with that dude, he crazy. Those are stigmas of mental health. People have wrong ideas of the individual, not understanding that mental health does not mean, hey, that man's crazy. Hey, that man's dangerous, or that woman's loony, stay away from her. No, those people are sick. They need help. When you catch a cold, when you have a stomach virus, when you had COVID, did people say you were crazy? Did people say you were dangerous? Stay away from him, stay away from her? Did people look at you funny? Now, they might have looked at you because you always wearing a mask and covered from head to toe, but hey, But really, did people look at you in an ill manner because you were sick? So why do we do it to people that are mentally sick? It's the same concept. It's the same thing. So throwing that stigma out there for the people that are suffering is not helping their rehabilitation of them. It's a lot of groups of people that just don't understand mental health, and not understanding that them themselves and we ourselves suffer from a form of mental health all the time. When you stress, when you have anxiety, when you have depression, when you're just having a bunch of thoughts going into your head and you can't get them out, those are forms of having a mental health illness. Now, don't get me wrong, everyone's illness is not as bad as others. Some have symptoms, while others are full-blown. Stress, anxiety, depression, all that is symptoms that we all suffer. Now, if you're a person who's never been stressed, who's never felt anxiety, who's never been depressed, I'd like to meet you, because you are a hell of a human being if you never suffered those things. But I also feel bad for you, because if you ever do suffer one of those things, number one, you're probably going to be afraid to admit it because of the stigma that you put on others, being afraid it's going to come back on you. And number two, it's going to hit you so hard and you're not familiar with what's happening, you're not going to know how to handle it. You're not going to know what's going on. You're going to feel some type of way. Your body is going to feel some type of way that you don't understand. But I'm here to tell you now what it is. People suffer from depression. People suffer from anxiety. People suffer from stress. And A lot of people run around and talk about how a person is weak because he's depressed. Yes, at that particular moment in time, his mind is weak. Just like your immune system is weak when you have a cold or when you catch the flu. Him or her as an individual is not weak just because their mind is suffering from a weak moment or a moment of instability. You know, people suffer in silence. And that's one of the worst things you can do is suffer in silence. Because when suffering in silence starts to crack, that crack turns into an explosion. We have to build each other. We have to encourage each other. We have to break the stigma of mental health. And let me tell you, that stigma is really bad in the Black community. Let me tell you. Some of our people don't even believe in mental health. I had a young brother tell me that he don't believe in mental health. He think that's for weak people. He think people just need to man up, shake it off, get it together. He was telling me about this young lady he was with, and she was on medication at the time, and he wanted her just to stop being a baby, stop crying all the time. You know, put your big girl panties on and let's do it moving. That's what he wanted. But I told the brother, I said like this, man, listen, if you want her to move functionally and move in accordance to your plan, that young lady is going to need to stay on her medication. Because that medication is what balances her out. Just because you don't believe something does not mean it's not true. What's good for you may be detriment for me. If you don't know this person's situation or don't understand this person's situation and never been in this person's situation, don't judge this person or their situation or think you have a bright idea on how to fix it. You have to walk through the fire to understand the pain from the burning flames. You can't tell me how to help myself in my situation if you've never experienced my situation. And we go back to the cost of being silent and the consequences of being silent about our mental health. When you don't have a person to talk to, a person to come to and express yourself, express your feelings, the outcome can be unbearable, you know. And especially for men, men have been always taught to hold your feelings. Don't get your feelings and your emotions involved. And to an extent, that is very true. Because getting our emotions involved in certain situations can be our downfall. Letting our emotions speak instead of our mind can be our downfall, can be torture to ourselves, to our career, to our life. But holding your emotions in that you are feeling about yourself, about your life, it never works out. Find someone you trust, whether it be a family member, a friend, a pastor, a teacher, a neighbor, someone you trust, not to judge you, not to spread your business, not to look at you funny, not to pillow talk the conversation with their significant other or their buddy. Someone you trust that you can confide in, that's going to give you genuine help and advice. Because I guarantee that person that you find has experienced one, if not multiple, symptoms that you're experiencing in your life. So, if the majority of people are experiencing the same thing that we experience in our life, why have a stigma about it? But you know, the ones that put the stigma on are the ones that are afraid to admit that they too suffer from anxiety, stress, and depression. But they're the ones that are suffering in silence. Because they don't want anyone to judge them, to talk about them. They don't want anyone to treat them the way they treat you. Because they know what's wrong. So they suffer in silence and they just move on. So I encourage everyone out there, let's break the stigma. You can break the stigma by encouraging others to talk about these mental health issues. By asking your brother, your sister, hey, how you been? How's your day? How's your week going for you? We ain't gotta be besties. But if I know you, I should be able to check on you because I know how I'm feeling. I know what I'm going through. So I know another person is going through the same thing. So I encourage everybody to help break this stigma, to reach out to somebody. And also, don't suffer in silence. Don't do yourself like that. Speaking about it, letting your feelings be expressed, and finding that trustworthy person will make a whole lot of difference in your life. Trust and believe. So I hope you got some insight, and I hope you can move forward throughout your week with this motivation and knowing that there's somebody out there that loves you, that cares about you, that understands you and what you're going through. So next Monday, another episode of the Mental Monday podcast.